the answers to life's biggest questions are hidden in plain sight? Let's uncover them together. Welcome to the Divine Sorcerer, where we bridge the gap between science and spirit. Join me on a journey through iatromathematics, witchcraft, alchemy, biochemistry, and astrology. We'll explore the ancient and the modern, the mystical and the scientific. But this isn't just about what I've learned. It's about opening your mind to new possibilities and challenging the conventional wisdom you've been taught. We're diving into controversial topics and offering fresh perspectives, aiming to elevate your consciousness and spark your curiosity. From the wonders of the cosmos to the secrets of ancient texts, we'll uncover the hidden knowledge that can transform the way you see the world. So, are you ready to embark on this enlightening adventure? Hit that subscribe button and join the Divine Sorcerer community, where we explore the unknown and rise to a higher state of understanding. Let's unlock the secrets of the universe, one discovery at a time. See you in the next video. Stay curious, stay enlightened.
All right, I think we're okay. It says I got signal. So let's see here. Make sure everything's kosher while I'm here. Give you all time to come in here. Alright, so let's see here. 21 seconds. We need to get rid of this one because. Alright, goodbye. Get rid of that one. Alright, let's see. Why are we grainy here? Why are we grainy? Quality 240. What? Why do I only get 240? Alright. Alright, let me see if you guys can hear me. Hold on a minute. I won't be talking for nothing. I promise we will get started here shortly. Let's see, can I hear myself? I can hear myself. Alright, good deal. Which means y'all can hear me too. This phone doesn't like me. Never wants to charge. There we go. Alright, good evening, everyone. Or, well, at least the one person that's in here. Got 2 views. Let's see here. Alright. And so, once my signal decides to strengthen up, we will be talking about the Hermetic Principle of not mentalism, vibration, and how it is interconnected with quantum physics, quantum consciousness. Why am I spinning here? bag do I have? What do we have going on here? Why you want me to open this? Alright. La, 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 la. I need no date. Am I still live here? What the hell? Okay, so it says it's still going. So we will let that go. Try to plug this back in. Oh my god, it worked. Alright, guys. And so once I get situated here, I have steady signal. We'll be talking about vibration. Everything runs on vibration. We talked about that a little bit last week. Um, I explained about the zodiac wheel and how through vibration you can split it, and we can use that for mathematics, which is basically called medical astrology, um, and that's what they used back before all the man-made stuff, right? And so let's see here. How are you guys doing tonight? Chrissy? Anybody else in here? Oh, there's two people in here, so we got two people. Still show me that. Alright, still showing me live. I don't know why it's only 240. That bothers me. Might just be you guys seeing 240 or you guys seeing it in like 720 or what? I'm gonna get 240. Like my graphics card too. I know it's going out. And I put it through a lot with Star Citizen, so that's possible. Mm. Okay, so we'll just go with it then, maybe, right? Signal strength. What do we got here? We're good. All right. Move that over here so I can see. All right. All right, guys. And so the third Hermetic principle of vibration teaches that nothing is truly at rest. Everything moves. Everything. Even if you don't think it's moving, it's moving at very slow paces. Oscillates or changes state, and differences in reality are understood as differences in the rate of mode of vibration. I showed you that yesterday. Let me see if I can find the picture. Would be under. I know I have it here. Right here. I told you I did. Right here, I should have just looked, right? Okay, and so, like I showed you last week, vibration when it speeds up becomes a frequency, right? So, as a bridge concept, the metaphysical principle in Hermeticism is that it can be compared with scientific ideas about motion, waves, resonance, and cycle patterns, while still remaining distinct from any strict scientific proof or of spiritual frequency. But as we clearly see here on the chart, right, when vibration starts and it speeds up, it becomes a frequency. Each frequency has a different like category. You have radio, microwave, infrared, visible. So it all depends on the frequency, the vibration, how fast that vibration is going. And so the core idea in the Kabbalion is that the principle of vibration states that nothing rests. Everything moves, everything vibrates, and it describes the spirit and the matter as poles on a continuum of vibrational states. Like, we'll get to it, but like the Hermetic principle of polarity would basically be a good way to sum that up. And so, in a plain language, the idea says that what looks fixed or solid is actually dynamic at a deeper level. So, like, when we talk about vibration in like quantum physics, we can link it as quantum mechanics is useful because it shows that the microscopic world behaves in a wave-like and particle-like ways, a phenomenon called wave-particle duality. Physics also describes matter and light through quantized behavior, meaning wavelengths, momentum, and oscillation-like properties. Again, here we go. So that makes vibration a legitimate bridge metaphor when discussing modern science. That said, scientific quantum theory does not prove Hermetic claims about consciousness or spiritual manifestation. It only supports the broader idea that reality is not static. So it doesn't disprove it, it doesn't prove it. It just kind of runs along with it, right? So that's the quantum physics link. Let's look at the quantum consciousness link. My signal is good still. Okay. So quantum consciousness is more speculative than established physics. So it should be spoken of as a philosophical or interpretive idea rather than settled science, right? As you know, none of these principles have been scientifically proven. They just work. But then again, these are laws man can't play with, so they wouldn't be understood. In Hermetic style writing, people often use it to suggest that observation, attention, and mind may participate in shaping experience, which goes back to the Hermetic principle of mentalism. We covered that 2 weeks ago. But that is not the same as a validated quantum theory of the mind. The strongest way to phrase this is Hermetic vibration and quantum consciousness both inspire the idea that the observer and the observed are not fully separable. Okay. Science and mysticism use the idea in very different ways. So then we look at biology and medicine when it comes to vibration. Biology provides a strong real world resonance point between or because living systems run on rhythms. We talked about the music, how music makes you feel, right? It runs on rhythms, cycles, and oscillations. Circadian rhythms, neural firing, heart rate vulnerability, and biochemical signaling all involve pattern change over time. This makes vibration a practical metaphor for health, regulation, and coherence in the body. And so when I talk about medical astrology, mathematics, that's got a lot to do with vibration because you're using a ritual, you're using the gems and the herbs, and you're doing it at a sacred time, and then you're relying on this herb or this medicine or whatever you're taking, which has a vibration in it. And you're like, how's it got vibration in it? Again, everything moves, nothing rests, right? But more importantly than that, the photons that come from the sun through the nuclear fusion that ride the waves, right? Of, I forget what it is, like mass something, CMEs or something. Anyway, they come into the plant. Okay, animals eat the plant. The plant uses the uses the photons for photosynthesis, right? Well, the animals eat the plants. We eat the animals and the plants. So that encoded information, that vibration, that energy, right, enters us. That energy then gets turned into glucose, okay, like a sugar. That glucose then gets turned into ATP. And I'm not even going to try and pronounce that word because I'll fuck it up every time. Screw it up every time. But anyway, that ATP is what helps to, supply stuff to our muscles and whatnot. But then it gets turned into ADP and recycled back into ATP. So see, it's like a cycle. Okay. That information goes throughout your body, straight into your DNA, into your muscles, like into your brains, into your neurons. And it makes you think, right? Again, it's the vibration, it's the energy. That's why I tell people, look at the world through energy, through vibration. Everything has a vibration. And when you can look at the world through vibration, you can understand how to manipulate reality, right? In a way to speak. So when we talk about manipulating reality, right, or manipulating your outcome, as in like medical astrology, you do the ritual and you do the mathematical equations to line up the planets and the timing and everything. You're invoking that energy, whether you're asking it from the sun or the moon or Jupiter or Saturn or Venus or whatever. Okay, you're laying down the properties associated with them planets to invoke those energies. Now, again, none of this is scientific, but I've found it to work, right? And so when you talk about invoking these energies and you know incorporating them into your practice and working with these said energies, then you start getting into understanding how vibration goes with sacred geometry and numerology, right? Because we know everything in the world, Fibonacci sequence, the Mandelbrot, it's all mathematical, right? And so sacred geometry fits naturally because it treats number, proportion, and shape as visible expressions of underlying order, harmony, and repetition. Numerology extends that same symbolic logic by assigning meaning to number patterns, ratios, and repeated sequences, which can be described as numerical vibrations in esoteric systems. So in this structure, we can say that vibration becomes pattern made visible through through geometry and numbers, right? Through seeing the Fibonacci sequence, seeing how that vibration correlates from one to the other. We can see the pattern. That brings us into we understand now the vibration, how it interconnects with sacred geometry and numerology. Now we go a step further and we learn how vibration mixes in with hermetics, with astrology and astronomy. and alchemy. Okay, Hermetics places vibration alongside correspondence, which we talked about. I think that was last week, the as above, so below. It also places it alongside with polarity, rhythm, and mentalism. We talked about mentalism the first week, or the second week, because the first week was just me being me. And so it works best as a part of a larger symbolic system rather than like an isolated law. Okay. And that's why I try to tell you to incorporate all of these because it interconnects with all these. It's not just one isolated principle. Okay. Like this principle is wide range. So astrology and astronomy connect through cycles, orbital timing, and angular relationships, and reoccurring celestial patterns, which many esoteric traditions interpret as cosmic rhythms. Alchemy contributes the idea of transformation. Vibration becomes the mechanism by which one state changes into another. Now, remember, I told you, you know, vibration, which is essentially an energy, doesn't die, right? It can only transform. So that's kind of like the alchemy part of it. It goes from one to another, right? Whether that is matter or consciousness or symbol, it's still all in the same, right? And so that's how vibration, which I got in my ear, is interconnected with hermetics, astrology, astronomy, and alchemy. Now, another fun part that I like to explore with and play with, right? Because I like to have fun, lots of fun, right? Is tarot and witchcraft. How does vibration mix in with tarot and witchcraft? Well, vibration as a tuning of intention, a symbol, a timing, and ritual atmosphere rather than a lab measured force. In tarot, correspondences between planets, signs, elements, and archetypes create a symbolic web that can be described as vibrational harmony or disharmony. And it can be disharmony when you get a bad card and you get all messed up, get all out of whack. So in witchcraft, chants, drumming, candles, movement, herbs, and ritual focus are often explained as methods for shifting or directing energy, which is why vibration is such a common framework in magical practices. Okay, and so we've talked about vibration in quantum physics, we talked about quantum consciousness, vibration in biology and medicine, sacred geometry and numbers, hermetics, astrology, astronomy, and alchemy, tarot and witchcraft, and now we're going to go to science and symbolism, right? So, science can support ideas like motion, oscillation, resonance, periodicity, and biological rhythms. While Hermeticism uses vibration as a metaphysical law of reality and consciousness, that distinction lets you connect everything without overclaiming the modern physics. Like science and symbolism work together. Okay, everything in this world that I've come to understand since coming out of what I was taught when I was little has to do with symbolism. You ever see the commercials on TV or even your car symbols? Like they all have symbolism behind them. They all mean something other than what you think they mean, right? And so when we talk about vibration and the different stages of vibration, the different uh, I don't know, waveforms, I guess you would call it. those waveforms, when you understand it as in medically, as in using those energetic, okay, whether you know it or not, the food that you eat has energy in it. That's why when you eat food, it gives you energy, right? We could spend the next 2, 3 hours going back to the beginning, all the way back to the sun, and how photons get, released through nuclear fusion and goes through the 5 stages and then gets traveled into Earth through the CMEs, right, and the supernovas. We can trace that whole thing. The point is that vibration sped up becomes a frequency. That frequency becomes a music note, right? Follow me here. That music note, then when you hear it, can help to reset certain organs in the body. And this is what they don't tell you, right? It's called sound healing. I believe it's used over in like uh, India or Malaysia or somewhere. I don't know, somewhere over in there. But sound healing. Even meditation, Reiki, things like that are actually good for you. This is like it's how to reset your body. And trust me, a lot of us since we were born need our body reset because we have been corrupted, we have been programmed, and it's time that we come out of that programming and we start to understand these little things. Oh my God, it's witchcraft. Witchcraft ain't bad. Witchcraft was a way of life back a few hundred years ago. That's why your seers and your prophets and everything became so notable because they were doing that stuff. You see what I'm saying? They were in line with the vibrations of the earth. They were in sync. It wasn't until man gave you a 12-month calendar and took you off the 13-month calendar and indoctrinated you into being a little workforce and not truly mystical who you really are. And so when you can come back and get rid of all that and relearn the right way and understand that the hermetic principle of vibration, nothing rests, everything moves, everything is moving. That little bit of movement can readjust your thyroid. That little bit of movement can readjust your pituitary gland. I don't know, whatever the glands were. Let me see, what are they? I'll get to them here in a minute. Hold on. Right here. We got your thyroid and your pituitary glands at 62 to 68 megahertz. Um, your thymus gland at 65 to 68 megahertz. We got your heart at 67 to 70 megahertz. Your lungs are at 58 to 65 megahertz. Your liver is at 53 to 60 megahertz. Your stomach is from 58 to 65 megahertz. So see how they're all within the 50 to 60 range. Maybe some's 80, like the pancreas is between 60 and 80. Your descending colon and your ascending colon, like when you can learn to read the set energy, you don't need man, right? Like I said in my video earlier today, we live in a very, very evil time. Like, I'd almost hate to say it, but worse than the Dark Ages, right? Maybe not as quite as bad, but we're not far from it with everything that's going on. And so it's time to take your life back into your own hands. And this is information that I believe everybody should know. Like it's not bad to invoke the energies of the other planets. We're all interconnected, so why would that be so bad, right? Everything is interconnected. I showed you the as above, so below just last week I think it was, how we're all interconnected. So if we're interconnected with the universe and the planets and the stars, why is it so bad that we sit here and invoke them, right? It's not. It's a part of who we are. It's just they want you to think that that's bad so that you don't practice it, so that you don't find out the truth. Because when you find out that you're a little spark of vibration running a golem suit, and that death is just really a, means to a new beginning, then life stops being scary. All their fear and all their little propagated psyops that they got going on don't work because you're now awake. You understand. You understand as a human who you are, your vibration, right? And when you use that vibration, you can pretty much figure out who you are and how to keep yourself healthy. You don't need man for that unless you're truly just not bright enough to make your own decisions and you truly need help. Then I guess, but I don't need no help. I can take care of myself, as I'm sure many of you can too, right? So I encourage you to get out there and start planting your own food. Get out there and start killing your own meat, like we did when we were hunter gatherers, right? Or at least go to a butcher and find a good butcher that doesn't, buy into all that crap meat. Start getting back to the basics. Start learning which plants heal what plants does what. This is your life. Take control of it. Why are you gonna let somebody else take control of it? Goes back to the point I was saying earlier about I I, I love how people think they're free. They're not free. They're programmed to think that they're free. And that's the funniest part of all. When you come out of all of it and you wake up and you truly watch the way the world, like my girlfriend probably thinks I'm crazy because we'll be out somewhere and I'll be sitting there and like I'll just be steady staring at people, like watching them, studying their movements and how they act and what they do and like you know human behavior is a funny thing, man. Let me tell you. And once you start to read patterns, you can start to see patterns in many different people. Patterns don't lie, guys. Words lie. Words will lie to you quick. Patterns don't lie. And in the world we live today, we need to start looking at patterns and symbolism because that's how they put it out there. They put it out right in front of you, and you guys don't even pay attention to it. You're just like, yeah, and you keep on going. Keep on supporting that circus. Though I am seeing some people start to fight back and wake up and, you know, become a thorn in the side of the poisonous system that rules this world. The evil vibration, the low vibration. You know, speaking about vibration, it's a funny thing, because I talk to a lot of people on a daily basis, and just like I was telling you last week, you got to watch who you talk to and who you hang around. You're only as good as the company you keep, right? You remember me saying that last week. as somebody who is high vibrational, who is awake, I guess you would say. I don't know how else to say it. More in tune with the earth, a higher frequency maybe. When you talk to people, like I'm always told, you got to dumb it down, man. We can't understand you. I can't do that. You see, I vibrate again, vibration. I vibrate at a certain frequency, at a high frequency, you know. And when you dumb yourself down to talk to a lower vibrational frequency person, you're basically inviting them to steal that energy from you because I've noticed a lot of low vibrational people. How do I say this without sounding mean? They have problems. And they always talk about, like, oh, I wish a bus would hit me, or oh, I wish somebody was, like, they're always down. They're always on the negative. They're always, they're the first one to grab you and bring you down, and like, and that is why it's so hazardous because you're up here vibrating at a high frequency, and then you start slowing down because you start hanging around this person and their low vibration, and then they're just pulling you down until eventually you both are just pulled down, and then you both are in it. You see what I'm saying? It's like habit forming. And so you've really got to put a wall up. You've got to learn to block yourself when talking with these people or when associating with these people. Because trust me, there's a lot of them out there, right? And so when you start to learn about vibration, how to incorporate it in your life, how to use it, how to understand it, you also have to start making precautions, like I just said, for the low vibrational people. I'm not telling you don't talk to them. I'm just telling you to guard yourself while you talk to them. Because energy vampirism is real, and they will suck every little ounce of energy out of you until you can't no longer move, and you got to wait days to get that energy back, right? Don't let nobody steal your vibration. You keep vibrating at that high frequency. We need more not women, but more women, men above 17 and up that are willing to come outside the norm, be weird, be authentic, and do their thing. Like I said last week, I know a lot of witches. I'm in a lot of groups, but none of them are boisterous. None of them are, they're all closet witches, or I mean, I got some that share stuff, and it's great to see their work, what they're doing, how far they're coming. But I don't think you guys understand the level of evil that we have in this world. A few of us stepping out, a few of us doing our own thing and showing others. It needs to be more than a few. Like I said last week, we're not living in the 1700s. They're not hanging you from a bridge or burning you from a cross for practicing witchcraft and understanding who you really are. And it's not just witchcraft. It's it goes deeper. Understanding biology and sacred geometry and quantum physics, quantum consciousness, astrology. You should understand astrology so that you can look at your natal chart. Because let me tell you, when I looked at my natal chart, man, that thing was on point. It told me who I was, why I was like I was, even who I became now. Like, it was all in the charts. I was blown away. I was like, wow. And it was interesting enough to make me want to learn, right? It caught my attention. And then just, like I said, learning the Hermetic principles and understanding vibration and mentalism. And that's the biggest part of it all. was the very first principle we talked about, mentalism. The mind is all, right? Because that's where it starts. You know, how do I phrase this? You are your own God, and your own God sits in your temple, right? Looking out that third eye, communicating with the higher beings, or those, I should say, that are at home waiting for you to return. Because I truly believe that's who guides me, is my ancestors. It's not like it's I don't know how to explain it. It's a veil. It's not like it's a closed off wall and you got to walk around it. It's a veil that you can see through. That's why they can come and go. We can't because we're stationary. We're only in this. Again, let me bring the chart back up. We're in this little part here, that with the arrow. Like, this is all we get. When we lose this flesh suit, become a spirit and an entity, we get all this. We get all of it. And we can travel through veils, through realms. Because we are a vibration, an energy, a frequency. And we don't die, we just transform. You know, that brings me back to the movie. I forget what horror movie it was, or what I was watching, but it was like, it might even been a TV show, but like they had this spirit, and like he left this dude's body and he came out as a spirit, and then as a spirit he just kind of like morphed and went into the wire, and then took the wire across to wherever, to his next place he wanted to haunt or whatever. But like, looking back at that, that's kind of like so much truth. Because when we lose this flesh suit, we are that same exact energy, and they can travel through wire. Why do you think they can mess your cell phone up? Steal the energy from your cell phone. You can go into a haunted house with a brand new battery. Be there 5 minutes if it's truly haunted, and the vibration and the energy and the atmosphere, it'll drain your battery quick like that. Why? Because they are energy, and they need that energy to either manifest, to get your attention, or to do whatever. But energy needs the energy to grow. And the fear that when they scare you and they get your goat, and that fear, that energy, that aura that comes off of you feeds them. Why? Again, because they are energy. We are energy, frequency, right? A vibration. As you can see down here in your biology and science, cosmic harmonics, quantum realms. It's really fascinating and intriguing to understand this stuff when you fully understand it, and you fully understand who you are. I don't think if I think I don't think if I died, I would have ever gotten into any of this stuff. It was it took me literally dying to dive into any of this, because I wanted to know where I was. Where did it come from? Like, where was I for that brief? I don't know. They said it was like 2 minutes, 3 minutes, but to me it felt like 30 seconds. It was, and I was trying to process it. Like, what happened? What's going on? And just that little happenstance there set me on a journey to find out who we are, not just who I am. I found out a lot about who I am in my journey to find out who human is, right? Now, I'm not saying I know it all. I'm not saying I'm some smart Stephen Hawking's kind of guy or whatnot. But I am smart enough to read and to determine what is actual science and what is not, what makes sense and what doesn't. And I mean, when you understand that you're a vibration, like when you understand that you're only here for a certain amount of time, when you understand that you are literally the universe experiencing life in a mortal form for a short period of time, the view of the world starts to change. You're not here just to be a work ticket for the elite. You're not here to just work yourself to death to provide for your family just so you can die on a hospital bed still feeding big pharma. That's not why you're here. You're here because you have a journey. We all have a journey. They're all different, but yet the same. I know, how do you figure, right? We all have our separate journeys that lead to the same essential principle. And like Jesus said, that principle is love. We all need to learn how to love again, right? I know a lot of you are like, look, love. What about your enemies? You don't love your enemy? No, but you don't have to hate them either. You can be like, all right, that's it, cool, you got over on me, whatever, and you can be cordial and nice with them. You just don't need to invite them back into your circle. You don't need to give them that time. They don't have that access to you, right? You got to determine, put walls down, guard yourself. Remember what I was saying earlier? Guard yourself. You got to guard yourself. It's all guarding yourself, protecting your vibration. Because let me tell you again, some vibrational thieves out there. Let me tell you. But once you learn to decipher and keep all that negativity away from you and vibrate at a higher vibration, come to a higher consciousness, learn to be able to decipher things, see things in patterns, see things in symbolism, be able to understand that, all this stuff is interconnected and you fit right in the middle. It's kind of like a bubble, the moon in a halo, or atom in a Celsius. Yeah, it's quite fascinating, guys. And I could sit here and go on and on and on about hermetic principles and medical astrology and thermodynamics, quantum consciousness. Like I could go on and on and on, talking around in circles on each different thing, losing you guys probably like I do. I'm pretty sure. Hopefully, you catch on to one piece of information and you start to research and you start to come to the understanding. Then you'll look back and be like, wow, even though he was talking on different subjects, he's really not crazy. Because I know a lot of yous out there probably think this motherfucker's crazy. Don't worry, I thought that too. I thought that for a while. I thought I was crazy. And then I started to see signs. I started to notice patterns. I started to awaken to what the truth actually was, to what was around me, to what was tangible, to what was repeatable. Repeatable? Science is repeatable, right? So I did a witchcraft spell 4 or 5 maybe times, and they worked. Repeatable science. You do it, it works. You do it again, it works again. You do it again, it works again. All right. Repeatable science. Like I said, we can go. I'll show you some of the invocations I've done, and some of the things that stuck out as proof to me that they worked. Right? Signs from the heavens, ensuring me that yep, you invoked my energy, and now you get it. You called on a tarot card, and the fire alarm went off, and you ain't have court for that day. You invoked that energy. You asked for that protection. You see what I'm saying? Witchcraft is real, and it's to be used responsibly. I just love some of you witches out here today, though. You'd be like, oh, yeah, this and that, and just throw it around like, you guys crack me up. And I'm sure it probably may work for you. Again, it's mental. The mind is all. So, if you envision it and your intentions have a lot to do with that vibrational intention, you could possibly work. But wouldn't it be easier to have the foundation laid out correctly so that it pinpoints your target, right? That's what I'm all about teaching, the pinpointation of the target. And it works. Why? Because I understand vibration and how it works. I understand the 7 Hermetic Principles. I'm able to stay off pharmaceuticals for, I don't know, 7 years because I can take care of myself through, I guess, through mathematics, right? I understand that each planet has an herb associated to it. Each herb and each planet have a time associated with it, right? I mean, you can get real deep into this stuff. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to realize, you know, that you have the zodiac wheel and you have the sun and the moon that go in that same pattern as the what? As vibration goes. The same pattern. Look at that. That's fascinating. The same pattern. Same symbolism. And there's the vibration. Electromagnetic wave. Right? That wave means so much, guys. You know what else that wave looks like? Can anybody else tell me what that wave looks like? Other than, the waves we have here, other than the DNA? It looks like a snake, right? You ever wonder why they made the snake? Made it look like the snake was so bad and evil? It's really not. It is really not bad and evil. If you've learned anything within the last 8 years, it's always the opposite of what they tell you. Think about that one. Guys, this is your life. Take it back. Now's the time to stand up and take it back. Don't give up your guns. Don't be obedient. Don't be a good little sheeple. Don't be uneducated. Learn. Stand up for yourself. Learn how to love yourself so then you can love others. Again, love is the highest of vibrations. We went through this last week, right? Love. It's all about love. I know it's hard. You can't love everybody. I get it. I don't love everybody either. Matter of fact, I don't like a lot of people. But I tolerate them. I am acquainted with them because that's the human thing to do. Will I give them my time? No. I will not subject myself to that little bit of energy draining process that they want to, inflict on me. My energy is sacred. I take pride in my energy. It's mine. I don't want to give it to nobody else. That's my high vibrational aura, right? To each your learn to build your own. How can you do that? By learning these things. Coming to the temple and learning these things. You don't even have to come to the temple to learn it. You can just get on your computer and learn it. But for those that want to sit down and, pick my brain like so many people want to do, chances now, man. Come over to Facebook. Come to the Temple of Veiled Seekers. Leave me a message on the video. I don't have a problem sitting down and talking with you. You can pick my brain. Might be something in there you can use. But get familiar with these. Principle of mentalism, principle of correspondence, principle of vibration, principle of polarity, principle of gender. I think there's like two more. Get used to them. Get familiar with them. Start incorporating them into your everyday, daily journey, and watch how much different your life becomes by just noticing these different little subtle things. Oh, witchcraft is so fascinating. Science is so fascinating. Astrology, astronomy. Mathematics is my thing. I love mathematical astrology. I love it. All right, guys. So this has been vibration, the third Hermetic principle of vibration. Um, I suggest you delve deeper, find out where you can fit it in your life, change your life, start living for the better, start, taking control of your life back. Don't count on safety from these schmuck pedophiles. Realize that you can protect your own self. Be a man or a woman, or be strong. Don't be so weak. I don't think I ever seen a weak Viking. I think they were all headstrong, wanted to fight, right? That's the way we need to be again. We need to fight. Fight for our rights. Fight for our right to live. Fight for our right to practice what we want. Fight for our right to be free. Look at all the vets that went before us, fighting all these wars, thinking they were fighting for freedom. They were fighting for an evil pedophile regime. And that's all of them, because all of them are in the same boat. All of them are in this secret society, whatever. They're in a higher class than most of us. I can guarantee you we don't fit in, and there's no place for us. So think about that one. Think about where that leaves you. What are you going to do? That's the question. All right, guys, and so I will see you on the next video, give you something to think about, and stay blessed.
If you're a seeker of hidden truths, then you need to dive into the world of the occult. Journey with us through ancient tomes and cryptic symbols as we explore the esoteric arts, sorcery, hermetics, iatra mathematics, astrology, and sacred geometry. These disciplines have shaped human history, whispering secrets to those brave enough to listen. Imagine the alchemist's laboratory, filled with mysterious instruments and bubbling elixirs, where science and magic converge to reveal the hidden laws of nature.
Picture the astrologer's chart, mapping the heavens to uncover the cosmic influences on our lives. What did the ancients know that we have forgotten? How did they use sacred geometry to unlock the secrets of the universe? And what truths lie hidden in the mystical texts of Hermeticism? These questions beckon us, inviting us to delve deeper into the unknown. Join us as we unveil the mysteries of the occult, where every symbol has meaning and every number carries a hidden message. Unlock your inner potential, transform your reality, and embrace the cosmic journey of self-discovery. Are you ready to explore the arcane and transcend the ordinary? Welcome to the world of sorcery and occult secrets. Let's begin this mystical journey together.